السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما، واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم لا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا ولا منا شقيا ولا محروما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Inshallah, today, I keep saying tonight because I'm mostly here on Isha time. Today, inshallah, we will be going through a hadith that was narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha about the very first revelation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or the very first revelation of Jibreel to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The hadith was reported in both Bukhari and Muslim. The hadith is considered to be one of the primary ahadith in Islam that the ulama teach, and it actually has a lot of relevance to the times when Islam looked very weird, at the times when people go astray. Learning about this hadith is not only important to understand the content and what has happened there, but also to put things back into perspective, especially as we see today's situation and the challenges that we go through. So inshallah, we'll go through the hadith and we'll take a lot of values and meanings of it, inshallah, as we go through it. So the hadith says عن عائشة رضي الله عنها زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنها قالت. So Aisha رضي الله عنها, just to begin with, was born Allahu Alam about maybe 19 or 15 years before Hijrah, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam got married to her after Hijrah. Like the final marriage became after Hijrah. And Aisha radiallahu anha passed away, and this is the year that we all know, it's agreed upon, on the year of 58 Hijri. 58 Hijri. So she lived probably 60 or so years. 60 or 70, between 60 and 70 years that she lived, radiallahu anha wa ardaha. Aisha was the most beloved wife to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Aisha, after Khadija, of course, and Aisha was the only lady or wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam got as a virgin woman. Aisha radiallahu anha was among the most frequently muhaddith in the time of after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she has reported or narrated many ahadith comparable to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. One of the things that we will hear now is when she said كان أول ما بدأ به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الوحي الرؤيا الصادقة في النوم. That among the very first thing that has happened to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم in receiving the revelation was الرؤيا الصادقة, which is what the Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم used to see while he was asleep. So I don't want to call it a dream, because we have a specific understanding of what dream is in today's time, but in his time, ar-ru'ya was what he would see while he was asleep. And in Arabic, we have ar-ru'ya with alif, and we have ar-ru'ya with a ta marbuta. Ar-ru'ya with ta marbuta is what you see while you are awake. But ru'ya with alif is what you see while asleep. And as-sadiqa here as she was pointing out, meant that whatever he ﷺ would see during while asleep, he will see it later while he is awake. And sadiqa means that it is truthful. He ﷺ would get something to and that he would not know otherwise beforehand, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it to him through that what he sees during his sleeping time. فكان لا يرى رؤيا إلا جاءت مثل فلق الصبح. That never he ﷺ would see something while asleep, except that he would see it later very evidently, as if it is like the he would see the sun in front of him. Now she said ثم حبب إليه الخلاء. Then he ﷺ became very fan of staying alone and contemplating about what he has in his mind and his world and in his circumstances. Khala or khalwa is when you disconnect yourself from anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what khalwa means. And they say that when a person does what we call it i'tikaf, do we do i'tikaf here in this masjid? We do? Only Ramadan? So if I do i'tikaf today, I cannot? I can? In my office, perhaps, yeah. So i'tikaf, the way that they explain i'tikaf, they say قطع العلائق بالخلائق والاتصال بالرب الخالق. That you disconnect your any relationship, you disconnect any connection between you and other people except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you focus on that relationship. And it's the same here with khalwa, except that khalwa is when you do it when no one is looking at you, whereas when you do i'tikaf, you probably are doing this with other people around you in the same place. Now, I just want to take a step back and ask this question. Aisha radiallahu anha, at the time when this has happened, wallahu alam, she was still young, and she was not even aware about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how did she know about this? Through someone, right? Maybe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or maybe another Sahabi, right? We don't know, but she did not say قال Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A hadith are of different types when it comes to how the narrator says he or she received the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes the narrator, the Sahabi, would say قال Rasulullah, that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said so and so. Sometimes he would just report or narrate what has happened without saying this, without saying it with the authority of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the first one is what we call it marfu', hadith marfu'. And hadith marfu' means that the Sahabi has mentioned that he heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this, or he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam doing that. The other one which is the case here. It could be that Aisha radiallahu anha heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling her about this later, but she did not make that very explicit, right? Or it could be that she learned that from another Sahaba, from another, maybe from her father, from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And we call this type of hadith mursal. Mursal. If the person who narrates the hadith did not hear it directly from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, instead he or she heard it through someone else, we call this hadith mursal. And this hadith, wallahu alam, is mursal. Usually when we have a mursal hadith, it means that there is some weakness in it, because there is someone in the chain that is missing, which is the one right after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, between the one who narrated the hadith and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is actually the case except in one situation. which is if the one who narrates the hadith is a Sahabi. Because the Sahabi will only narrate the hadith through another Sahabi. And we believe that all the Sahaba are accepted, right? The problem is if there is a Tabi'i who narrates the hadith and he didn't say who he got it from, then we say there's a chance that the one he got it through is not a Sahabi, and that's where we start putting some question mark, right? So I'm just saying this so that because sometimes you would hear, how did and especially coming from the enemies of Islam, they would say, how did even Aisha know about this? See, we told you, Aisha is not, is not an authentic person to receive their knowledge from. And subhanAllah, the attack on Aisha, the attack on Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu were among the most frequent attacks. You know why? Because through Aisha, we got the personal life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And through Abu Hurairah, we got most of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And or the most frequent Sahabi doing or narrating a hadith was Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. And if we miss the two, we miss Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam almost entirely. You see the point? And if you want to attack the hadith or even the Quran, it's very easy to just attack those figures, and then everything else would become like as a result of this a chain, and you would say, okay, then I will drop the chain altogether. And that is why, subhanAllah, it's very important for all of us to realize what the Imams of Hadith and what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum did, because otherwise we will be missing our religion. I did talk about Abu Hurairah in the past time. Now I'm talking about Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha. Aisha, as the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has stated, that it was the choice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him. That Allah has chosen this lady for him. Radiallahu anha wa ardaha. A person came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him, who is the most beloved people to you? And he said, Aisha. He said, oh, I'm not asking you about the ladies, I'm asking you about the men. And he said, then her father, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu wa ardaha. Okay, so back to the hadith. She said, ثم حبب إليه الخلاء فكان يخلو بغار حراء يتحنث فيه. So he sallallahu used to spend the time in Ghar Hira, and he would be alone, contemplating on himself, on his life, and the things that he finds. And he would do that الليالي أولات العدد, that he would do that very frequently in an enormous amount of nights. قبل أن يرجع إلى أهله ويتزود ذلك. So he would spend actually a long time in that Ghar Hira, and then he would go back to his house to get some food that he can use for another trip to Ghar Hira. Anyone went to Ghar Hira? Anyone? You went there? You climbed the mountain? You did? Wallah, you're strong. You did, yes? You were young? So let me just tell you this as a quick joke, inshallah. A year ago, I went there with my family, and I had all the kids. And they said, we want to go to Ghar Hira. And they were so eager, so desperate, that they want to go there. And they saw it through the pictures and some videos, so they wanted to have first-hand experience there. So the taxi took us to the furthest tip before, there's no car path, and then you have to walk yourself. So we went there. So we decided, the father and the mother, me and my wife, that we will stay there and let the kids go. So they went there, and mashallah, they were so strong, and they went, and then some goats came on their path, so they forgot about Ghar Hira, and they started to play with the goats. So we spent about an hour, and then they came back, and we asked them, so where's Ghar Hira? They said, we were so tired. The goats were more stronger than us. So subhanAllah, frankly speaking, it's not an easy. Even for young ones, it's a cliff, and the path is not, I mean, even after many people try to make it more paved, not truly paved, but semi-paved, but it's still very, very difficult. And you can imagine that he ﷺ would do this because he wanted to be alone and really alone. That he doesn't want anyone to be able to go to the same place. Now, just take this with your mind and ask yourself. He ﷺ did this, and he was not yet a Rasul. He was not yet a messenger. And this was one of the ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided him to do, to get ready for the revelation, right? If you ask yourself now that in this extremely wrong or bad situation that we have nowadays with people around us, and where people have gone in so many different wrong paths, and with all the different trials and tests, with all the different fitnas that are around us, how much is it compulsory on us to really have a time that we spend with ourselves and only have a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He ﷺ did this at the time when he was complaining about the people of Mecca being so much into worshipping idols, into being unjust to each other, fighting against each other, burying their daughters alive. But wallahi, if you were to count the number of mistakes that they used to do at their times, yes, it was big, but it's nothing compared to this time. That the amount of fitna that we have in today's time is way more than what happened during the time before the revelation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yet, subhanAllah, this was one of the things that he ﷺ used to do frequently to get his heart and his mind very focused on their lives and how they can be the better person. And that is actually one of the nasiha of our scholars, is to have your khalwa. Always, I mean, don't prevent yourself from having a khalwa at least once a week, at least. And that the khalwa could be as short as 10 minutes, as short as 1 hour, but just have that khalwa where you just get yourself away from all this world and think about your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how ready are you for the death moment, and how far are you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things that Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiallahu anhu arda, who was one of the most important figures in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he was the one who kept the secrets of him. He said, if you want to know yourself, whether or not the fitna has impacted you, then look at things that in the past you used to see haram and now you're seeing it halal. That was Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiallahu anhu. And how would anyone identify this? Like, I used to say, for example, a person who might be at one point in time a person who would be very careful about what type of money that he would bring to his home or income. And then because of all the different challenges, the person became more relaxed. And the person started to do the fatwa shopping and to seek some relaxation on the ahkam, so that he does not bother himself by saying, oh, this is haram or this is makruh. So the point here is, if you contemplate on yourself and how this worldly life is changing you, then you will come to a point where you can correct yourself. You understand yourself better and you can correct yourself. But if you don't do this and you go with this stream, then definitely you will you will change your path without you knowing that something has gone wrong. And subhanAllah, there is nothing more emphasized in the Quran about the worst loss a person could ever have, more than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Kahf, about the worst of the losers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا. That the worst of the losers are those who would lose the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And everything that they have done in this dunya will go to waste. But they, in their life, they thought that they were doing good. That's the part that we need to always remember and ask ourselves, am I really on the righteous path? Am I moving correctly? See, subhanAllah, when a person is so busy, when the person is always with people and without having those checkpoints for him or for her, where the person goes very sincerely between him or her and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to check everything that they are doing, then most likely the person will change. And most likely the change would include things that are not seen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be good. And this way, many people go astray without even knowing or thinking that what they are doing is great. And I just want to give one example and then resume, inshallah. If you think about any celebrity who has become, mashallah, a person that, very public in the media or whatnot, what do celebrities worry about the most? Maintaining their reputation. That's the thing that they worry about the most. And celebrities it's not a clear cut. I mean, most of the time people have some variation of or some level of being popular, right? And you want the person who has this much of big fans or followers, they always worry about maintaining their followers, about their reputation. And how would they do this? They try to please the people. So if a person is only listening to the people and not really contemplating about what he is doing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then chances are that wherever the people will take him, he will just follow them. And wallahi, one of the best things I have heard from our scholars is that the ones who are celebrities are not the ones who have the greatest number of followers. They are the ones who follow the mass number of people. Because you will not become a celebrity until you offer something to the people that would please them, right? And I'm just talking from a dunya perspective, like being, for example, an artist, being an actor, whatever it is. And the person has to understand what their fans are looking for in order to perform better, right? Right? So, subhanAllah, who is following who? It's actually the celebrity following his followers so that he understands what they would enjoy the most, and he will become even more popular. طيب. So Aisha radiallahu anha then said that he ﷺ would go to this ghar, and then he would go back to Khadija to get more food, and then go back to the ghar, and حتى فجئه الحق, until the truth actually surprised him or came to him as a surprise, which means Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. فجاءه الملك فقال اقرأ. So Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, when he first came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was in the ghar. And as you can, if you haven't seen it yourself, just look it up, inshallah, on the internet. The Ghar Hira is not a big thing. It's a small hole in the mountain. And if just try to imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being there, and as he sallallahu alaihi wasallam described Jibreel, that he saw Jibreel coming in a shape that was very scary. That Jibreel was sitting on a throne, and in a way that he cannot see the horizon, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all of a sudden, this thing, Jibreel, would say to him, "Iqra, read." Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as we all know, "Ma ana biqari," and "Ma ana biqari" means I cannot read. That's what it means. Some of the ulama have said that it may mean also, what do you want me to read? But wallahu alam, ma ana bi qari, because of that ba, bi qari, the right meaning of it is that I cannot read. And he sallallahu could not read. He sallallahu passed away with that state. He could not read, nor he could write. So the hadith says that he sallallahu was asked to read by Jibreel. He consistently stated, "I cannot read," for 3 times. For the third one, he said, "فغطني." فأخذني فغطني. غطني means he squeezed me. He squeezed me. Now, how did this happen? Allahu alam. Physically, is it the feeling of him sallallahu, Allah knows, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But she said, Aisha radiallahu anha said that Rasulullah sallallahu described this as he could not breathe because of it. حتى بلغ مني الجهد, until it became so hard on me. ثم أرسلني, then he relieved me or released me after that. Rasulullah sallallahu heard from him then, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. And that باسم ربك الذي خلق, what does it mean? Anyone can tell us what do we mean when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? Okay, what does it mean when you start by the name of Allah? Huh? It's a blessing for sure, but more importantly, that you actually are saying, you are declaring that I am with no power except for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me. I have no ability except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides me. That's what Jibreel told him. You are telling me you cannot read, but you will read by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, by the name of the one who have created you. And that is something that we should always remember. When we start anything, the sunnah is to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, or Bismillah. And that Bismillah is not only a barakah, that is always a declaration from you that nothing in this life could ever happen except by the will and by the mighty and by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whether it is food you're eating, whether it is something that you're reading, whether it is something that you are doing or an act that you're making, always seek the help and support from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why any work or any act that you start without saying Bismillah will become, will be missing that first barakah, and it will also be missing that support that you would otherwise get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the first 5 ayat were revealed. Rasul ﷺ then went back to his to Khadija, and the hadith says tarjufu bawadiro. Bawadir are the muscles here between the shoulders and the neck. Those muscles here, when someone is so scared, they usually show the what is the word when the muscle is keep it's not not tension, but it keeps vibrating. Yeah, I think there spasm. Okay, yeah, and that happens at the very very high level of when the person have high level of being scared. دخل على خديجة قال زملوني زملوني. I said, cover me up, cover me up. In one hadith, it's the very first time that he ﷺ went through this, he said زملوني. In another hadith that he ﷺ said دثروني. And the دثروني and زملوني, which is يا أيها المدثر يا أيها المزمل, have very similar meaning. However, they said that دثروني is actually adding even more clothes to me, which are so you add some cloth on top of you, or you add some cover to warm you up. But he ﷺ wanted something, even some more cloth next to his body, and that is dithar. So in Arabic we say dithar, and we mean the cloth that is very close to your body, right? That's why Rasul ﷺ has said about al-Ansar. What did he say? الناس شعار والأنصار دثار. He compared al-Ansar to the other Sahaba. He said that all the Sahaba are like are my shi'ar, which is actually the clothes that I wear from the outside, right? Whatever you see. But dithar is the cloth that comes very close to his body, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was saying that the Ansar were so close to him, just like how his inner clothes are close to him. We're not talking about underwear. We're talking about because Arabs in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wear multi-layer of clothing. So the ones that are visible are the furthest from his body, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those are called shi'ar. The ones that are closer to his body are called dithar. And here, dathiruni, I'm not. It's not enough what I'm getting on, that I'm to cover myself. I want something even extra to be closer to my body. Khadija radiallahu anha asked him or inquired about him, and he ﷺ said, لَقَدْ خَشِيتُ عَلَى نَفْسِي, that I was worried about myself. She radiallahu anha, after she heard about what has happened, she said, كَلَّا وَاللَّهِ لَا يُخْزِيكَ اللَّهُ أَبَدًا. And I think this is one of the most important moments that we should always remember in the history of Islam. The moment when Rasulullah ﷺ was at the greatest or highest level of weakness, and also being so scared, and the one who gave him that relief, the one who gave him that support, the one who gave him the logic and gave him the argument that was not only relieving him but also convincing him that he should be steadfast, was through Khadija radiallahu anha wa ardaha. One of the things that we always do or say is like when you see someone scared, no, don't worry, you will be good. Okay, maybe this is a nice way to relieve someone, but what does it mean you will be good? How did you know? Like what comes to your mind when you hear the word you will be good? it comes like a wish, right? There's nothing really convincing there, as you will be good because probably the law is in your side, or maybe there are so many people are trying to protect you now. I mean, most of us will use those words and will don't even know why we're saying them, except that we are trying to just make it easy for the person, right? You will be no, don't worry, you will be fine, inshallah, you are okay. And subhanAllah, we consider this to be a very respectful way, right? Let alone people who add to the fuel, or add fuel more to the fire in order to make it even worse and worse, right? SubhanAllah, it's very common in many communities where at the time of calamities or time of stress or major issues, people will become so darkly looking at things. So they will try to read between the lines. They try to relate anything wrong to the situation, and then they will become very pessimistic about what they see around them. Whereas Khadija radiallahu anha wa ardaha, she told him, I swear Allah will never disgrace you. Wallahi innaka latasilu rahim. And then she gave him the argument. She gave him why Allah will never disgrace him. She said, you are the best for your kith and kin. وَتَصْدُقُ الْحَدِيث. You are the most truthful in your speech. وَتَحْمِلُ الْكَلْ وَتَكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومِ. And you are the one who would help people who are sick and those people who are in need. وَتُقْرِ الضَّيْفِ أَوْ تَقْرِ الضَّيْفِ. And you are the most generous person to your guest. وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. And you are the person who, when you see other people being stressed or being in need, you are the first one to help them to get out of their difficult moments. So Khadija is telling him, you should remember how much you have helped others at this moment when you need to be helped. So whoever helps other, Allah will help him. Khadija radiallahu anha was not only a strong believer, not only smart, but she was very wise. In one authentic hadith, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in the house of Khadija, and Jibreel came. So he sallallahu said to Khadija, "Inna hada Jibreel." And then, this is Jibreel. So Khadija radiallahu anha said, I could not see what you see. So he sallallahu said, وَهُوَ يُقْرِئُكِ السَّلَامِ مِنْ رَبِّكِ. That Jibreel is conveying salam from Allah to you, Khadija. Now, listen to what Khadija radiallahu anha has replied. She said, Allahu huwa salam wa minhu salam. Allah verily is the salam, and from Allah comes as-salam. Now, if someone tells you, Sheikh so-and-so says salam to you, what do you say? Wa alayhi salam. And salam goes to him as well, right? She never said that. But then he sallallahu said, وَجِبْرِيلُ يُقْرِئُكِ السَّلَامِ. And Jibreel is saying salam to you. She then said, وَعَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. And salam back to him. So why she has different responses? Because Aisha radiallahu anha was so wise in understanding and realizing that Allah is the salam. Allah is himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, as-salam, the peace and all the mercy comes from him. So there's no way that salam goes to Allah. There's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of salam, so there's no way that the salam would go from another source back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, this is not an easy thing to realize at the moment when all of a sudden she comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he says, Jibreel is here and he's saying, Allah is saying salam to you. Of course, if you hear that Allah is saying salam to you through Jibreel, I don't know what feeling we would have. Other than we would say, would probably utter some words that are irrelevant, or maybe just being speechless because it's a very difficult moment. But Khadija radiallahu anha was so wise and was so knowledgeable radiallahu anha wa ardaha. So then the hadith says, فَانْطَلَقَتْ بِي خَدِيجَةَ حَتَّى أَتَتْ بِي وَرَقَةَ بْنَ نَوْفَلَ. And that's another, so what she said to him ﷺ was the convincing argument that Allah will never disgrace you because you've been the best person to others. Now, and those teachings that Aisha radiallahu that Khadija radiallahu anha said were coming from the revelations before Rasulullah ﷺ. So this is from the religion of Ibrahim, from the religion of Isa, of Musa, sallallahu alayhim jami'an. But then Khadija radiallahu anha, did not stop there. She actually took Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with her to Waraqa ibn Nawfal. And Waraqa ibn Nawfal was the cousin of Khadija radiallahu anha, the direct cousin. And Waraqa ibn Nawfal, remember I had a khutbah here about a person who became Muslim before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What was his name? Anyone remembers? That person who went to Damascus and went to Jerusalem to seek the truth, and then he came back to Mecca, and then he passed away before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Zayd, mashallah, Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl. Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl. So we have Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl who stayed on the religion of Ibrahim. And then we have another one called Waraqa ibn Nawfal. Both of these were actually against the idol worshipper that has happened in Mecca. So they both of them went to Damascus. Both of them went to Jerusalem. Waraqa ibn Nawfal accepted Christianity at that time. And it was among the true religions at that time, at least for some part. So he accepted Christianity, whereas Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl stayed at the religion of Ibrahim, which we call it Al-Hanifiyya. And they both went back to Mecca, and they both decided that the religion of the Meccans was wrong, which was the idol worshipping. But Waraqa ibn Nawfal became a Christian, and he became Hanif. Waraqa ibn Nawfal was not only a regular Christian, he was actually writing, or used to write the Injil and write the Torah with his hand, which means actually that he was very educated on the religion. And at that time he was an old person, كان شيخا كبيرا قد عمي, and he became blind out of his old age. Khadija radiallahu anha said, أي عمي اسمع من ابن أخيك. He was her cousin, but she used to respect him a lot, so she called him uncle, although he was his cousin. In some of the Arab cultures, I don't know if it is in Yemen as well, in Syria at least, I do call my cousin Ammi. I can always call him Ibn Ammi, but we sometimes call them Ammi out of respect. So we Am is the uncle, whereas Ibn Am is the cousin. So Khadija radiallahu anha said, Ay ammi isma' min ibni akhik. She said, oh my cousin, or oh my uncle, could you listen to to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Waraqa ibn Nawfal asked him, what is it that you saw? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him. And that's where Waraqa radiallahu anhu said, هذا الناموس الذي أنزل على موسى. The namus means in Arabic the one who knows the secrets, the one who comes with the secrets. And namus was a word that was used to describe Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. So he said this is the Jibreel, الذي أنزل على موسى. And أنزل على موسى, the one that came with revelation to Musa عليه الصلاة والسلام. Now Waraq ibn Nawfal was a Christian, right? But he said أنزل على موسى, and Musa, of course, was the prophet of the Jews. So any clue why he said the أنزل على موسى and did not say أنزل على عيسى? Anyone can make a guess? So the ulama have said that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he came with the revelation, he was opposed by his people big time. And he had to go through all this struggle and go through the from the Jews and from the Pharaoh and from the followers, like from everyone. And he had to face them. And he had to face a lot of challenges at his time. So Waraq ibn Nawfal was telling Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that you will be facing similar to what Musa alayhi salatu wasalam has faced. And then he said those few words, and I hope that if we go with nothing except those few words, it will be worth our all our meeting, and inshallah it will be for our life to come. He said, "Ya laytani fiha jad'a." I wish that during this time I will be brought back to my youth age, or my younger age. يا ليتني أكون حيا حين يخرجك قومك. I wish that at the time when they will expel you out of Mecca, that I will be alive. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أو مخرجيهم. He صلى الله عليه وسلم was responded with surprise. He said, are they going to expel me? And you know why he asked this? Because he just heard from Khadija that you were the best to your kith and kin, the best to the needy. Are they going to expel me from Mecca? So Waraqa radiallahu anhu said, نعم لم يأتي رجل قط بما جئت به إلا عودي. That no one came with the same revelation or with the same thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided you, except that many people became enemy to him. وَإِنْ يُدْرِكُنِي يَوْمُكَ أَنْصُرُكَ نَصْرًا مُؤَزَّرًا. And if that day comes when you become the prophet and people will go against you, I will be the one supporting you, and I will be the one that will try to bring you victory over them. Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala said, then it was only a few days after that, and Waraq ibn Nawfal radiallahu anhu wa ardah passed away after that. I think this statement, يا ليتني كنت جدعا, I wish I were younger. I think many of us, when we come to an age where we start to complain and we start to go to the medical doctors and whatnot and start to take pills as meals, not just one or two, but like a bunch of pills as if they were another meal in our life. At that point in time, people will start remembering or wishing, I wish I were younger than that, right? And subhanAllah, most of the time people say this to explain or to express how much they have lost from this dunya. But if anything, this man, Waraq ibn Nawfal, was sad about, was what? That he would not take the honor of defending Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam at a young age. يا ليتني أكون حيا حين يخرجك قومك. I wish I would be alive at the time when they expel you. If this day happens while I'm alive, I will be the one to protect you. And subhanAllah, I think one of the things we really need to understand or ask ourselves, especially now that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us life and health and ability, what are we doing to support the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How much is it of our ability that we're giving or dedicating to the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Just like how Waraqa ibn Nawfal radiallahu anhu ardah was hoping to get. And that is exactly where we should always remember this hadith. Yes, it was at the beginning of the revelation, but first, he ﷺ prepared himself to be the best recipient of those revelations. So when Quran comes, unless your heart is so pure, it will not reside there. And that's why, subhanAllah, we have many huffaz, but we have very few people who truly understand the Quran, and even less than that, people who react or practice that Quran in their lives. And we have a big issue of us going with the stream and not really worrying about ourselves and where we are moving. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was preparing himself to be the best person to receive this revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, even after he became strong, even after he became ready, still Waraqa ibn Nawfal told him that you will be facing opposition, right? And you will be expelled from Mecca. So let alone what we need in these days, that not only becoming ready, but also we should expect a lot, that by us saying La ilaha illallah, by us saying Muhammadur Rasulullah, we should really be ready that all the challenges that would come would never or will never, inshallah, be a reason for us to weaken us in our path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last thing I would like to say is that people always say that or complain about what happens in their houses. And I think it is very common practice between people, at least in Arab community. I don't know about others, but in Arab communities, it's very common for people to mock at their spouses. So the wife will talk about her bad, the bad things that she sees from her husband at the sisters' gatherings, and the same thing happens with the man. The man will talk about. By the way, there's a common statement in Arabic where we say, "Man thanna dakhal al-jannah," whoever has a second wife will go to Jannah, and things of that nature. And the reason they say this, they say it as a joke, but they say it because, subhanAllah, it's very common that a person is not happy with his wife, and they always complain about that. And they say, well, Allah allows me to go with another wife, a third wife. And unfortunately, this is all wrong. And this always goes against the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it only increases the gap between the wife and the husband. The reason I'm saying this is because when a person is expecting that he or she he is a man of da'wah or she is a woman of da'wah. If a person is expecting that they would deliver the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and support the cause of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how would they ever get into that strength if at their home they are just treating their wives as if they were their enemies? SubhanAllah. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got the revelation, the very first supporter was Khadija. And subhanAllah, if you think about it, a male would never go to a woman for support. Never. It's not known in the history, it's not known in psychology. What is more known is that a man would go to a stronger man if the person is facing challenges, right? If you are scared, you go to someone who is strong or someone who has authority. That's where you seek some help. You will never go to a woman. But he ﷺ could not find anyone better than Khadija. And that tells you that part of the success of Rasulullah ﷺ was Khadija, was his wife. And I think we are losing that big time in today's time. That most of the time du'at are facing the same trouble that everyone is facing with their spouses. And that just brings them down, and not make them ready or the best people to deliver the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing, wallahi, that helps you at home better than your wife. And wallahi, there is no better friend to a person than his wife. No way. Because that is the person that you spend most of your time with. That is the person that will cover you at the times when you are facing vulnerability or when you are facing challenges. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us to the level of iman of Waraqa and Khadija radiallahu anhu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our houses, bless our spouses. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us steadfast and make us among those who would provide the support and victory to Allah's cause and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam path. Allahumma ameen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Yeah, inshallah, breakfast is right after Salat Sunnah, inshallah. Oh, yeah. Can we say? So Waraqa ibn Nawfal is considered to be among the people that, wallahu alam, among the what we call them Ahl al-Fatra. No, Waraqa ibn Nawfal was Christian, but he was on the righteous, on the right side of Christianity. Correct. So he believed in him as messenger, but he did not live